One of the major revelations of the Trump tax returns has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It actually has to do with the IRS. And there's a really good article in the Daily Beast by Sean Wu called "We Haven't Seen Trump's Taxes Yet, but it's clear the IRS failed America." The IRS is required to conduct audits of the president and vice president while they're in office, but Trump apparently got a pass. We'll link to this article in the description for the YouTube video that we're going to put up. But let's talk about the big picture here. The IRS didn't even audit the president, who's supposed to be audited as a matter of automatic principle. It's supposed to be mandatory audit of the president. And as you zoom out, you find yet another one of these projection, hypocrisy, logic pretzels that the right often gets itself into. They complain about the IRS. The IRS is too big, and the IRS is cracking down too much on the wealthy, and the IRS is politically biased and going after the conservatives, even though we know that that's actually that was an Obama era pseudo scandal, which has been completely debunked. And they say we're for law and order. And yet what we see is they never want to fully fund the IRS. And they seem perfectly happy, or at least indifferent, to the fact that the IRS isn't even really doing the minimum. It's almost like they don't really want rich people, and in particular rich conservatives, to have to follow the rules. Predating this specific incident, think back. The IRS has a history of discrimination and unequal enforcement, especially against marginalized communities and small business owners. We could also look at the ongoing issues with the IRS's outdated and error-prone systems, which for average taxpayers just make it really difficult to get your taxes done. People often end up going to paid services, even though there are often free services available depending on your income. The confusion and the frustration that the IRS continues to put taxpayers through, average taxpayers, combined with the tax software lobby, which is very strong, create a situation where for many of the average taxpayers with average incomes, it's both more expensive and more complicated and frustrating and convoluted to file their taxes than it has to be. While meanwhile, the very rich and the privileged take advantage of all sorts of different mechanisms to often end up paying a dramatically lower effective tax rate than people with significantly lower incomes. That's a failure of the IRS and of the elected officials that dictate tax policy and manage the IRS. And then when you think about what has this really done, the IRS has played a major role in enabling corruption and abuses of power by the wealthy and powerful by turning a blind eye to what is, and again, tax avoidance and evasion. I believe avoidance is legal, whereas evasion is not. There's a gray area there in terms of the spirit of a lot of these laws, if not the letter. By turning a blind eye to it and failing to even adequately audit and investigate high-income people and corporations, they are allowing the wealthy to buy their way out of paying their fair share above and beyond what the tax code is even trying to achieve. So this is the type of stuff that erodes trust and faith in government. And meanwhile, they want to tell you, oh, Biden wants to double the size of the IRS and arm everyone, when the truth is that there's 55,000 IRS people expected to retire over the next 10 years. 55,000 of the new hires are just to replace people that are retiring. That just gets us to where we are now. In terms of they're arming the IRS has a small law enforcement division. So does Amtrak. So does the MTA in New York City. It's not really a big deal. It's not actually an authoritarian police state crackdown. They want to focus on that, when the truth is the IRS is dramatically undersized and underpowered. And that's really what we're learning from the Trump tax return story. Good habits have to be sustainable in order to become habits. It has to be something you'll actually do. And when it comes to nutrition, some people have hours to plan out every meal, their exact vitamin intake. I'm not doing any of that. I don't have the time. Here's what's sustainable for me. I start my day with just a single scoop of AG1 from Athletic Greens. It gives me the entire day's worth of the 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, and probiotics I want from whole food sources. It's just simple. It's just 1 scoop of AG1. I get all the nutrients I want. I don't have to do any math, use my protractor, my TI-83, or take a bunch of different capsules and pills. It's not some kind of wacky supplement making a bunch of crazy claims. You know, I would not promote something like that. AG1 is just a simple product that does what it says it does. It gives you the daily nutrients and vitamins you likely want, vitamin A, C, E, magnesium, zinc, potassium, in 1 simple scoop. You keep your body nourished. You'll also get a free year supply of vitamin D, which I take in the winter, plus 5 free travel packs at athleticgreens.com/Pacman. The link is down below.